come today. Time has come today.
So, from inside North Korea, we are getting probable reports that they may be preparing for another missile launch, which might occur within 24 to 48 hours from this point in the video. Currently, South Korea and the United States are preparing for a sort of exercise in order to show their demonstration of how much they oppose this testing by the North Korean regime. This comes in the wake of their claims of they have a hydrogen bomb and a probable detonation of nuclear tests with a magnitude of 6.3 in North Korea, and also with the fact that there was a missile that flew over Japan itself. Now, all of this North Korean crisis has been occurring for at least a month now, and despite what's been happening with the UN sanctions and especially the tough talk that Trump has given to North Korea, they are not really backing down. They are just continuing on with the testing, and they have actually gotten a lot more flexible, let's just say, in terms of how they're doing with their testing. For the first time ever, just 2 weeks ago, North Korea decided to launch a missile over Japan. Not only does this violate their sovereignty, but it also shows how much of a threat North Korea is. If they have the technology to reach over Japan, they might have the technology to not only hit Alaska or Hawaii, but the mainland United States. This already shows that North Korea is just, in the words of Nikki Haley, they're begging for war. That's what they obviously are begging for. And they're using these nuclear tests, obviously, in order to try to break up the ROK-US alliance, but I doubt that's gonna ever work. But so far, the UN sanctions are failing. And there has not really been too much progress. Even with China, despite the fact that they have been trying to cut ties with North Korea in order to make it submit to UN sanctions, it's not really having a good enough time with them. Considering with how much missile tests that have been going on, which are at least like maybe 3 this month alone, or well, take that back, within a month alone. That shows that how much North Koreans just don't really care. They don't, or wait, well, take that back. Not North Koreans. Kim Jong-un doesn't care. He doesn't care about any of this. What he wants is a reunified peninsula under his regime and to kick out the United States. Hell, maybe even striking the United States with a nuclear missile would just be a bonus. Right now, he's using these missiles as like a bargaining chip in order to destroy this alliance, to even prevent the United States in order to support South Korea in the case of a war breaking out. That I do not think that will ever happen, by the way. Yet I will admit he's still trying. But there have also, from what I've also seen in the United Nations, there's been several calls from a few nations where there might be like a treaty or something where North Korea would stop these nuclear missiles, while the United States and the ROK would just simply stop with their military exercises, which I completely call bullshit. There is no way in history that would ever work. I don't really trust the North Koreans. In fact, if I gave them $10 and tell them to get me, told me to give me a Slurpee or something by inside a grocery store, I wouldn't trust them with that. I wouldn't. Hell, they might as well just steal the money and claim that it's their money, and I was the one who stole it. That's basically how I feel when it comes to North Korea. I don't really think that they will hold up their end of the bargain, um, despite the U.S. or the ROK stopping military exercises. And besides that, I just that would be a big impossibility, considering that there's all the threats from North Korea are in a direct result at both South Korea and the United States. It wouldn't make any sense for either one to stop these military exercises. But to be but but I just I don't know what these nations are thinking. I know it's in the best interest of the entire world to make sure that there's peace and to stop a nuclear armed North Korea, which, by the way, is completely nuts. But the way these guys are doing about it, it's like they're in a naive kind of world. At least that's how the UN is. They say that they want the US and North Korea to stop with all this talk. Guys, North Korea started it. You want proof? Look at the Korean War. Since 1950, North Korea has been constantly threatening South Korea and the United States. They even tried to invade South Korea and nearly succeeded without the help of the United Nations. But hey, I can't believe that they're still thinking that stopping military exercises would just simply would make things better and would completely allow the ROK, or no, not the ROK, the DPRK to just simply give up their nuclear ambitions. I don't think that would happen should this treaty ever been like accepted by both parties. I don't think so. In fact, I think that this would be a form of appeasement to North Korea, and in a way, this would end up simply like Nazi Germany with France and England over basically Czechoslovakia. At first, in the short run, it will stop war, but then they will ask for more and more and more. And when you say finally stop, they decide to take matters in their own hands and invade. In the case of Germany, it was invading Poland and eventually declaring war on the UK, France, and basically the rest of the entire world. That would probably work out the same way here. That's why I cannot support anything in like this whole tree that a few of these nations actually in the United Nations have actually proposed. I can't. If I mean, you guys are not the ones who are having to deal with a North Korean threat. It's basically South Korea, Japan, and the United States. Basically, those three countries are the ones that North Korea really hates. I think fourth would probably be put in China, but it's more of a necessary evil in their case. But I don't really see anything improving anytime soon. What I think is that this missile test will probably do something very drastic, like the 1-2 weeks ago where it launched across the Japanese islands. I think this would probably do something similar to catch the eye of both South Korea and the United States. That's what I think. Maybe they would just launch it so close to South Korea that it would be considered violating the sovereignty of South Korea, but not declaring war. And that could maybe even happen in terms of North Korea targeting Guam. I mean, they have been actually threatening Guam, and with this test showing that the missile can at least nearly hit the island, that would definitely bring the United States and South Korea to become very nervous in terms of North Korea's power. And by that time, I think that China will be forced to step aside. In fact, I think that there's inevitably going to be a war. The problem is, we just don't know when. But that's all I have for you for today. My name is Naomi, and I'm the Arc Truth. Bye.
Time has come today.